Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know the vibe, sir. What is going on, me dogs? It is your boy John Quick. Talk that lingo crew. Talk that lingo very fast. I got a bunch of cat heads on the microphone. But like I always say, it is harder to keep money than to get it. We're gonna be getting into some crazy things today, man. Did y'all see that Sixers versus Nets game? Oh my goodness gracious. Easily, easily the game of the year, or at least of the regular season. Um, this was absolutely the most exciting game in recent history. In recent history for the Sixers, for sure. And what I will actually say about that, speaking of the excitement, um, these were some of the most expensive tickets in Sixers history. In Sixers history. Yes, I said it, in Sixers history. Some of the most expensive Sixers tickets. We drinking some High West old fashioned. It's a barrel finished cocktail. It's already made. I was in the state store and I'm like, let me try that out. So we're gonna try that out tonight. You already know. If you are in here, drop a like. If you are in here and you are not following or subscribe to the channel that you're watching this from, make sure you like and subscribe. What happened to James Harden, man? I know y'all seen the title of this show. What happened to James Harden, man? What didn't happen to James Harden tonight? He was very, very quiet tonight. Uh, didn't look like his normal self at all, to say the least. I'm of the mindset that Harden cannot perform like Harden in big games. Harden is not James Harden in big games. I don't know who he is. Normally the mic is down here, but I don't know, whatever. I don't know what's going on with Harden. A lot of things, a lot of storylines coming into this game. What I will say about this particular game that we saw, I did foresee Kyrie and KD having tremendous games, but what I didn't foresee was Harden coming in and not wanting to show somebody something. I thought he would have more to say, more to do. Not more to say because you can't, but you get what I'm saying. I thought Harden would have come in with he didn't even get over 8 assists tonight. I mean, who would have thought that? So cheers to the Brooklyn Nets. Oh yeah, y'all may have noticed I definitely got my Lakers hoodie on. I switched to my Lakers gear quick. Listen, if I'd have known the Sixers was gonna give it up like that, I'd have stuck with Russ and LeBron. You hear me? But no, in all seriousness, man, what happened to Harden, man? What happened to Harden? What happened to Harden? They were 5-0 with Joel Embiid and Harden in the lineup. What happened to Hardy? Come on, Hardy. Where was you at, Hardy? Oh my God, Hardy went in the paint. They was stripping Hardy. They was doubling Hardy. Oh my goodness, Harden didn't know what to do. And let me tell you something. I did hear that Harden is nursing a calf injury. I did hear that Harden is still nursing his hamstring. We knew about the hamstring when the trade went down, so I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is if you're gonna be out there, don't be out there half-ass. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, you made a couple threes, you hit a couple threes, but you can't have 15 attempts in the first half and only make 5 field goals. If you're gonna be out there, I need you to only put up 10 shots and get 10 assists. Give me that. Give me that. Harden wasn't even controlling the game how he normally controls the game. And that was my biggest issue with Harden tonight. It wasn't necessarily his points. It wasn't his points. It was his inability to pass the ball to others like he normally does. I mean, listen, when you got Joel Embiid getting to the free throw line, 19 times, damn near 20 times in the first half, you should at least be going to the free throw line as well, at least like 10 times, and giving me Give me 6 dimes in the first half, at least, James. Give me 6 dimes in the first half. And the only reason why I say 6 dimes in the first half is because it's against this team. It's against the Nets. Harden has to perform to perfection because it's against the Nets. And listen, I hear a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, it's one game. Shouldn't have to worry." While I would normally agree with you on that, what I will say, first and foremost, what I will say is look at that first game that Harden and Joel played. You got people saying, we're going to the chip. It's been 5 games, and I keep hearing people saying the Sixers are going to the chip. Listen, all NBA fans know, across the globe know, that there is nothing guaranteed in this game. There is nothing guaranteed in the NBA. Listen, the 2 top teams coming into this season that had the best odds to win the championship were the Brooklyn Nets and the Lakers. Both the Nets and the Lakers are in the play-in tournament. Both the Nets and the Lakers are in the play-in tournament. Let that set in. They were the 2 favorites to make it and win the finals this season, but they're both in the play-in tournament. Let that sink in. So 1 game, yes, I would agree with you. It's just 1 game. But check this out. KD and Kyrie took this game very, very personal. They took this game very, very personal, right? What makes you think if they are in a 7-game series with the Sixers that they are not going to take it personal? They are going to take that series more personal than they would if they had to play the Bucks. I'm going to tell you right now, the Sixers and the Nets is going to be a bigger series than the Nets versus the Bucks. Even with the Bucks beating KD last year, if KD were 1 size less, they would be in the finals and presumably probably would have won the finals. But who knows, honestly. The one knock on Harden, for me, the one knock on Harden I have is that I feel like he don't show up in big games. I don't feel like Let me take my drink because I'm listen. I'm so excited after seeing this game, but my one knock against Harden is that he doesn't show up in big games. This was the game that Harden was supposed to come out and be like, look, I know what I showed y'all thus far in my career, but my time or my tenure here with the Sixers is going to be different. He didn't show us that. He didn't give us that. He gave us the same old Harden who wanted out of Houston. He gave us the same old Harden who was hurt in the Bucks series. He still went out there to help KD. You had a Harden on one leg in that Bucks series. He gave us the same old Harden tonight. I'm not sure Harden is going to be any different when playoff time comes around. The Sixers didn't bring Harden here to play and beat Minnesota like Charles Barkley. They didn't bring him here to beat the Knicks. They brought him here to beat the Bucks, to beat the Nets, to beat the Nuggets, to beat the Warriors, to beat all the top teams in the league. If Harden can't do that, I don't know, man. This trade was a bust. It would be a bust. If Harden can't do that, this trade will be a bust. Let's look up some stats, man. Let's look up some stats. I'm going to pull up some stats. Give me one moment. I'm going to pull up some stats. Because this was a great goddamn game. I'm going to tell you, I had tickets initially to the game. Initially, the tickets that I had were $90 tickets. I actually wound up selling the tickets for at least $300 a pop. I had 4 tickets. So, I was going to be sitting at home, not watching this damn game live because I was going to make a profit on my tickets. And I did just that. And I'm so glad I didn't go to this game. I am so glad I didn't go to this game. My goodness. I mean, what a terrible, terrible loss. What a terrible loss. All right, I'm gonna share some stats with y'all. Let me go ahead and pull this guy up. And I'm hoping y'all can see that. I'm assuming y'all can't see that. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. Can we get a zoom? Can we get a zoom? How can we get a zoom on this guy? Can we get a zoom? Oh, hold up. Let me get a zoom, Playboy. Yeah, let me get a zoom, Playboy. Zoom me in, Playboy. All right, what are we looking at? What are we looking at? Okay, can y'all see my stats? Y'all can see the stats. Okay, let me switch it up. All right. So I know that may be hard for y'all, for those of y'all who are watching on a cell phone. Shout out to all my people watching on Twitch. My Twitch following has been growing, and I do have both of these shoes. I own both of these shoes. Yes. That question has been coming a lot from my Twitch followers. So if we're looking at these stats, the overall point leader was Joel Embiid, which was pretty easy to predict. I mean, he probably was the best player, or is the best player going into this game, at least individual game. Seth Curry scoring 24 points is a very, very underrated stat. Listen, the Sixers lost by 29. They don't trade away Seth Curry, they might lose by 5, but they might be in this game a little bit better. They lost by 29. The player they traded away scored 24 on them. You got to think every single time he plays this team, he's going to go up. He's going to light them up. Don't forget about your man, James Harden, who is not even in the top 5 scoring players in this game. Tobias Harris was the second leading Philly scorer, and he only had 16. My thing about Tobias Harris is that he doesn't command enough respect in these games in terms of when you see, all right, so like Joel, you see Joel posting up, you get him the ball. You see KD posting up, you get him the ball. You see Kyrie posting up, you get him the ball. You see James Harden posting up. Even if you saw Russell Westbrook posting up, you get him the ball. You see Chris Middleton posting up, you get him the ball. Tobias Harris he's not a I'm struggling to say that he's not a get your own basket type of player, because he absolutely is, but he's more of a role player. He's more of a A or B option on a okay team. He's not a third scoring option on this team. He's not a third scoring option on any team in the NBA, or solid third scoring option. And he's damn sure not a solid third scoring option on the Sixers. Obviously, we noticed that Tyrese Maxey did not make the top 5 scoring. Tyrese Maxey is still a baby. He's still a baby, technically. He's technically still a baby. And that showed tonight, too, that he is still a baby. Let's move on over to assists. James Harden had 5 assists tonight. 5 assists tonight. Kevin Durant, Goran Dragic had more assists than James Harden. Damn it. I mean, what a ridiculous stat evening it was for James Harden. I'm not really a big fan right now of James Harden. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of what James Harden did tonight. I did think that this was going to be a very solid trade. However, tonight showed me otherwise. Tonight reinforced the fact that Harden is going to be very lackadaisical in the playoffs. He is not going to step up and be, okay, so that second gear that some superstars have, that wherewithal to just be like, look, I'm going past you. I'm scoring this bucket. There's nothing you could do about it. Your coach over there, he going to sit on the sideline, call a double team for me. But as I'm running by him, I'm going to tell him you shouldn't have did that. Like players like KD have this. Players like Kyrie Irving, players like Giannis have that second gear. Yes, you're a superstar. You can score 27 points, but you don't have that second gear where it's just like nobody's going to stop you. You know how you play 2K and you fill up your power meter? I can't think of the name of it right now. Actually, somebody in the comments let me know what it's called. But you know how you play 2K and you fill up your power meter? It's evading me right now the name of it. But after you fill up that bar and you hit that button, that right bumper, or excuse me, when you hit that, whatever the button is, I can't remember. I don't play games like that often. When you hit that button after you filled the bar up, nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you. That's that second gear. Giannis has that second gear. LeBron has that second gear. KD has that second gear. Harden doesn't have the second gear. I cannot identify if Joel Embiid has the second gear. I can't identify if Joel Embiid ever had a time where he's like, you can't stop me. You can't stop me. And together, y'all can't stop me. So I'm about to score this basket and we about to win this game. Y'all could come down here on offense and act like y'all about to score on me, but y'all not going to score on me either. And when I get the ball down there on your end, I'm going to score on you. Joel Embiid doesn't have that. James Harden almost never had that. James Harden is a very, very efficient scorer, but he's never had that killer instinct. And I say he's never had that killer instinct despite him being third, because obviously Harden did pass Reggie Miller to be the third all-time leader in three-point field goals made. But Reggie Miller wasn't a Kobe Bryant. You get what I'm saying? You could be a really, really good shooter and fail in big moments. Even Steph Curry. Steph Curry is a phenomenal shooter, but he fails in very, very big moments. Now, Steph Curry does wow us, but in the finals last year, and this is my last point on Steph Curry because I just want to defend my point of him not being a big-time shooter in big moments. But in the finals, when the Warriors were going up against Toronto, Steph Curry, regardless of Steph Curry not having Clay or not having KD in that finals, Steph did not perform well in those finals at all, to no stretch of the imagination. Definitely not to Steph Curry's standards. He didn't perform well. And that is the same prediction that I would have for James Harden. I do not think James Harden can play well in a 7-game series, let alone against the Nets, his former team. This was a terrible game. A terrible game. Absolutely terrible game by James Harden. James Harden. You did say that, Brent. I will give you that. I will cheer. Brent, I gotta get you on the show, man. We gotta get you on the show, man. You have some very, very good points, but I will concede this point to you, Brent. You did say that we were gonna miss Curry. Curry was missed tonight. 24 points. So understand this. Not only do the Nets have KD and Kyrie, they also have Seth Curry, who's going to put up 20-some-odd points. That's a big three. And Simmons didn't even play. Simmons is not even your scorer. So let me get this straight. So you got Simmons, who all you need to do is pass, rebound, and defend. Then you got 3 scorers that you can rely on. At least 2 of them you can rely on night in and night out. KD, Kyrie, and Seth Curry as your third leading scorer. Then coming off the bench, you still got Patty Mills, who can get hot at any moment. Patty can get hot at any moment. Not to mention when Joe Harris comes back. Joe Harris is one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Don't forget he won a three-point competition that Steph Curry actually was in. Joe Harris did win a three-point competition that Steph Curry was absolutely in. So I will concede this point to you, Brent, for sure, that the Sixers will miss Curry. Garrett, yeah, you're right. The team did play sloppy all around. However, so two things when the team plays sloppy. There are two people who are at fault when the team plays sloppy. First and foremost, it's the coach. Doc didn't necessarily put this team in place, or in places to be successful. I would say I do think Doc needs to play Korkmaz a little bit more, and I think listen. Doc doesn't like to play young players. Doc does not like to play young players, but Doc needs to put Reed in more, and Doc damn sure needs to put Isaiah Joe in. And the only reason why I say he needs to put Isaiah Joe in is because he's the next best shooter on the roster. Isaiah Joe is the next best shooter. Korkmaz, for what it's worth, is like a 20-some-odd% shooter. He's not even a very, very good three-point shooter. Isaiah Joe is the next best shooter on this team outside of everybody. There's no good shooters on this team. I don't know. What happened to the Sixers, man? I'm not sure. Yes, Garrett, you're right. I'm going to concede this point to you, too. They did play very sloppy, but like I said, the two people who are at fault when the team plays sloppy, obviously we talked about Doc, but secondly is the point guard. The point guard on this team is James Harden. Now, he was very lackadaisical in this game. He kept giving up point guard duties to Tyrese Maxey. For what it's worth, I love Maxey. He's a very, very good young player, lightning quick. He's not a point guard. He can carry on the point guard duties. Maxey is not a point guard. And I think Harden was ducking the smoke a little bit tonight. I know he wanted to pass Reggie Miller, but he was ducking the smoke just a little bit tonight. Chris, what's up? What's up, baby? How you living, man? Chris, we got to get you on the show. I've been seeing, you know how Facebook lets you scroll through and you just see everybody's comments and going on. I've been seeing Chris's comments saying that this is just one game. And Chris, I definitely want you to at least defend your point on that, because I do agree with you. While it is one game, remember that first game that James Harden and Joel Embiid were playing together. I got excited. I was on board. I'm on board there. I'm still on board. I just think the jury is out on really two or three pieces of this team. First and foremost, James Harden does not perform well in big games. So if James Harden is not going to perform well in big games, you need Tobias Harris to step up and provide a spark to this team. If Joel Embiid is going to give you 27 points, you can live with that. Doesn't matter how he gets his 27 points. If Joel Embiid can guarantee me 27 points, I'm taking that. I'm taking that to the bank. But I need two other players on this squad to score at least 20 points. Tobias Harris has to step up and be a lightning rod. All right, so we got James Harden. I don't trust him in big games. Tobias Harris needs to step up and be a lightning rod for this team. The third thing is Shake Milton. I know a lot of y'all are going to be like, Shake Milton, why are you mentioning Shake Milton? Because Shake Milton's the backup point guard. When Shake Milton comes in the game, he's supposed to be lighting them up for three. He's supposed to be slashing, getting people involved. Shake Milton is useless. And I remember once in a while, once a little bit ago, it was either Tyrese or it was Shake. The Sixers didn't know who was going to be the next best young player, Shake or Maxey. They were really like neck and neck for a little bit. And then obviously Harden came, and then, or even in the beginning of the season, Maxey just kind of accelerated without Ben Simmons being in, right? Shake Milton, I don't know what it was. His injury had him out sideline for a little bit of time. Ever since he's came back with Harden in the lineup, Shake is useless. Shake is absolutely useless. The Sixers need a better backup point guard. Shake Milton is useless. I don't know what he does good, But everything, all his flaws have been highlighted now that he's playing for the Sixers. What is Brent saying? And Durant was always the best player in this matchup. Embiid is great, but he has a ways to go. Listen, Kevin Durant is a very good player. He is a very good player. And career-wise, Brent, yes, I will agree with you. He is a better player than Joel Embiid today, right now, this full season in a vacuum, this entire season, just this season, if we were just looking at just this season and nothing else, Joel Embiid is a better player than Kevin Durant today, right now, right now. Durant has had a better career thus far, and he has a better skill set thus far today, right now as it stands at 10:53 Eastern Standard Time. Kevin Durant is not a better player than Joel Embiid. That's just a fact. And the reason why I say that is because, well, Kevin Durant is always hurt. He's always hurt. He's always out for an extended period of time. And remember last year, the knock on Joel Embiid, the reason why he didn't win the MVP is because he was hurt. He was out, like 15 games, something like that. So if we're applying that same criteria to the reason why Joel Embiid didn't get MVP, we can't then not hold the same criteria to Kevin Durant, in which case he's always hurt. He's always hurt. And I can also make an argument, if it wasn't for him, pogoing on to the Warriors, he would never have a championship. So I can't agree with you is to say Durant is a better player than Joel Embiid. Definitely not today. Joel Embiid is definitely a better player than Kevin Durant today. That is absolutely a fact. That very well could have been true. James Harden could have been out in the streets with Meek for sure. We're not gonna bring Meek into this. Meek didn't play not 1 minute on that basketball court. We're not gonna bring Meek into this. Hold on, wait a minute. He ain't play a minute. How you bring up Meek? He ain't even play a minute. Meek don't play basketball. This is all on your man James Harden. He was spent all night running the streets with Meek. Don't put Meek in this. You gonna make my man Meek lose his presidential status at the Wells Fargo Center, man. Don't bring Meek into this. This ain't got nothing to do with Meek. Yeah, no. Tobias Harris definitely folds every chance he gets. Tobias is going to fold on you. I can guarantee that. He's going to fold on you. He was never built for a max contract. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with you. Look at these stats. Let me take myself away. Look at these stats. That is horrible. Horrible. You don't see James Harden nowhere near the top. This is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. In fact, the fact that those tickets were so highly priced and the Sixers put this performance out there like this, it is ridiculous, man. Listen, if you are in here, drop a like. Man. It is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot agree with this, Brent. I'm sorry. I can't agree with this. Yes, Durant has 2 rings. Absolutely. Durant has 0 rings being the best player on the team. Durant is overall. Actually, in fact, I want to challenge you on that. Durant does not have more skill than Joel Embiid. No, he doesn't. Because guess what? It's one skill that you can't teach. The fact that Joel Embiid is bigger, leaner, and I would assume he's stronger than Kevin Durant. He does everything Kevin Durant can do. Maybe he's a better shooter than Joel Embiid. I can't think of anything else. I mean, okay, you want to say Kevin Durant is a better dribbler than Joel Embiid? Okay. Joel Embiid's a center, so you better be a better dribbler than him. But nobody can stop this bull at all. If he decides to stop shooting, you can't stop him. If he starts shooting, you can't stop him. If he start doing the fadeaway, you can't stop him. Everything that Kevin Durant could do, Joel Embiid can do. There are things that Joel Embiid does that Kevin Durant can't do either. Kevin Durant, if Kevin Durant's jumper's off, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there because I would need to discuss with you why this is so. I'll give you that he's a more clutch player. I'll concede that point to you. In any argument with any other great players, when you're talking about Kevin Durant, the ring conversation is null and void. You can't bring up the ring conversation when you are comparing Durant to any other great player. And here's the reason why. Kevin Durant joined 3 Hall of Famers. LeBron never joined 3 Hall of Famers. And when I say LeBron never joined 3 Hall of Famers, he never looked at a team and said, that team has 3 Hall of Famers, I'm going there. I can't concede that point to you. Kevin Durant's rings almost mean nothing to me. They almost mean nothing to me. I hold the Bucks ring. I hold Giannis's ring higher than both of the rings that KD won with the Warriors. Giannis's ring means so much more, at least to me, in my opinion, than anything that Kevin Durant did with the Warriors. That one season means so much more. And the reason why is because he didn't hop on a pogo to go get the rings. My man left Russell Westbrook to team up with damn near the best point guard of this generation. That's what he did. That's what he did. Kevin Durant teamed up with 3 Hall of Famers, the best shooter of all time, one of the best defenders of all time. He also teamed up with arguably the second best shooter of all time. And he teamed up with a great coach, with a great system already in place. Look at the Nets. The Nets are in 8th place. Kevin Durant can't be the best player on this. Okay, all right. This is what I'll tackle this. Kevin Durant was the most skilled player on the Warriors, yes. But the most important player was Steph. Steph was the most important player. That team doesn't get anywhere without Steph. Look at Durant's history. Durant has never won anything without a great second co-star. LeBron can get to the finals by himself with scrubs. LeBron has been to the finals with scrubs. LeBron has walked into the finals with scrubs. Lost in the finals. Kevin Durant will never, ever, 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 ever win a finals while being the best player on the team. He will never do it. He will never, ever do it. Maybe this moonshine is talking for me. Maybe. You right. Maybe. But he hasn't done it thus far. Okay. I'll concede this point to you. But my argument is that LeBron never looked at a team and said, I'm going to go there. He never looked at a team and said, I'm going to go to this team that has 3 Hall of Famers. LeBron goes to the team and brings people with him. That's my only argument. He goes to the team and he brings people with him. That's my only argument. Kevin Durant, different story. I'm lost for words tonight. I'll be honest. Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, okay, so I'll defend this. I'll defend this because this is a great point. I did just say that Curry doesn't show up in big moments, but I also did just say that Curry was a better player than Durant. I'm going to defend this. So, in a clutch time situation, if I had to choose between Jimmy Butler and James Harden in a clutch time situation, I'm going to choose Jimmy Butler, right? But if I had to choose between Jimmy Butler and James Harden for an extended period of time, I'm going to choose James Harden. Why? Because James Harden is a better player. Jimmy Buckets is a better clutch player, but James Harden is a better player. Same logic applies to these two players. If I wanted a player, if I had to choose between Curry and Durant for a clutch basket, I'm choosing Durant. I had to choose a player for an extended period of time, I'm choosing Steph Curry. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that. For all of Kevin Durant's powers, for all of his powers, one thing that he always fails to do is he doesn't make other people around him better. Case in point, Nets do not run an offense. The Nets do not run an offense. The Nets are an isolation team, isolation heavy team. And the only reason, obviously they run plays, right? But the only reason why you notice how the Nets don't run as an efficient offense as the Warriors do is because when Kevin Durant was with the Warriors, Kevin Durant was setting a lot more down screens for other players. Kevin Durant was doing the pick and roll at the top of the key with other players dribbling the ball. Kevin Durant would get more transition threes, if you notice. Kevin Durant had more transition threes than he did. Kevin Durant made more transition threes with the Warriors than he does with the Nets. It's because their offense doesn't really allow for that. The transition baskets that the Nets get are dunks or layups. The transition threes that the transition baskets that Durant was getting when he was with the Warriors were threes. He was getting threes. Remember in the finals, he's running up and shooting threes in transition. It's because the offense called for that and allowed for that. With the Nets, they are isolation heavy. However, if I had to choose between an isolation heavy player and a player like Steph Curry, where Steph doesn't need the ball to be effective, Steph doesn't even need to dribble the ball to be effective. Kevin Durant, for all his powers, he has never, ever been the absolute best player with no argument on the team. And the reason why I say he's never been the best player on a championship team, because, okay, we could argue that Durant is better than Curry. However, the fact that we have to have the argument is the reason why Kevin Durant is not the best player. There was no question that he was the best player in OKC. There was no question. Nobody in their right mind would argue that Russell Westbrook was a better player than Durant. But the fact that you can have the argument with Durant and Curry lets you know that it's not as clear cut as it may seem. For all of Durant's powers, he has never won a championship alone. Never, ever. Okay, LeBron has never won a championship alone. Every championship LeBron has won, he was the best player on with no debate. He was the best player at all times he didn't have a player that was LeBron never played with the best shooter of all time. Kevin Durant played with the best shooter of all time. I mean, Brent, this is why we got to have you on, because you're making a lot of points that I can't get to. I'm drinking this moonshine. I start talking. Let me see. Who won Finals MVP in those Warriors team? Okay. I'll concede that point to you too. However, Andre Iguodala also won Finals MVP. So I can't say that the Finals MVP lets you know who the best player was. Andre Iguodala did that as well. He was on those Warriors teams. I can't really say that. Finals MVP, Pascal Siakam could have won Finals MVP. Like I said, Andre Iguodala won Finals MVP. Butler is definitely not a better player than Harden. There's absolutely no way. Don't forget how good Harden has been offensively in his career. Do not forget that. Butler has never been that good. Brent, I think you're confusing clutch time with better player. There are two different players. So remember Big Shot Bob, Robert Horry, 7 championships. Nobody in their right mind would say he's a better player than Allen Iverson. But he was a better clutch time player than Allen Iverson. Jimmy Butler is a better clutch time player than Harden. He's not a better player than Harden. Jimmy Butler can't do the things that Harden can do. Don't forget, Harden did just pass Reggie Miller for 3rd all time on the shooters list. That list is made for shooters. Steph Curry, Ray Allen, James Harden, and then Reggie Miller. I don't know who number 5, but that's a shooters list. That is a shooters list. Durant does not. Oh, so he may very well still get a few transition threes, but the Warriors' offense allowed and called for him to get more frequent threes in transition. Is my argument. I would guarantee that he's made more transition threes while he was with the Warriors than he has with the Nets. He may get transition threes, but the offense allowed for him to get more of them because not only was he playing with the best shooter of all time, he was playing with arguably the 3rd or 4th best shooter of all time. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, LeBron has never had teammates like them, ever. And then you add Draymond Green in the mix. LeBron has never had that. That was the best team ever on paper. Ever on paper. I mean, for all of Kevin Durant's powers, I can't say that he can be the best player on a championship team. He's been with the Nets for what? This is his 3rd season with the Nets. They haven't even made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're in the 8th seed right now. The Nets are in the play-in tournament. That's the team that has Kevin Durant. The Nets are in the play-in tournament. That's the team that has Kevin Durant. The one that's in the 8th seed. The Lakers, for all it's worth, the Lakers are terrible this season. Yet, they're in a play-in tournament just like the Nets are, and the Nets just beat the Sixers tonight. Let that sink in. We have to take a step back and look at the picture objectively. The Nets are in the 8th seed. The Nets are in the 8th seed. They have a long way to go. To even see the Sixers in a playoff match. They could do it, but they've got a long way to go. And then even if they do it, they still got to go up against the Bucks. And even if they do that, they still may have to go up against the Phoenix Suns in the finals. I would almost guarantee that the Bucks are going to the finals this year. After what I saw tonight, I would have to put my money on the Bucks going to the finals this year. The reason why is because that second gear that Giannis can really get into. Okay, all right. He did play. Okay. One of the best two guards of all time. I'll give you that. Then he won with Kyrie. Okay. The best handles of all time. I'll give you that. But LeBron never, ever, 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 ever played with two players like Clay and Steph. For what it's worth. Okay, he won with Kyrie. Wade was one of the best two guards of all time. LeBron never played with two players like Clay and Steph. It's never happened. And for what it's worth, Kevin Durant played with those two players and only got 2 chips. He only got 2 chips out of it. Why? Because he was often hurt. Remember, even in the first year, Kevin Durant got hurt. Remember, even in the first year that he went to the Warriors, Kevin Durant got hurt. That's the one knock against Kevin Durant. I remember when Kevin Durant came in the league, we all thought Kevin Durant and LeBron James were going to be the two players to eclipse Kareem. Everybody was talking about Kareem being eclipsed by LeBron and then LeBron being eclipsed by Kevin Durant. Look, Kevin Durant has no shot at eclipsing LeBron, let alone Kareem. Kevin Durant might not even eclipse what's his name? Carmelo. Carmelo is 9th on the list. Don't forget. Kevin Durant might not even pass him because he's hurt all the time. For all of Durant's powers, he is always hurt. He's hurt all the time. He is always hurt. Remember the first year he went with the Warriors, he was hurt. When he left the Warriors, he was hurt. He just came back from being hurt. For all of Durant's powers, he can't. The number one ability is availability. And oftentimes he's not even available. That's the one thing I had. That's the one knock I have against Durant. Okay, I understand you much rather have Butler than Harden. Butler can score with the best of them. Okay, I'll concede the point to you that Butler can score with the best of them. The fact that you said that he chooses not to, okay, if he's choosing not to, then Butler needs to be averaging more assists. Well, for some reason, James Harden still averages more assists, even if he doesn't want to necessarily score. Now, the effect on a team, maybe, but I'm sure Butler has a better effect on a team than Harden does. But a better player, I think we have to really, really separate some of these categories with better player being we're just looking objectively at the numbers, at their style of play, and what they do favorably on the court. Butler has never been a very, very good three-point shooter. That's something that you give up if you choose Butler over Harden. You give up that three-point shooting. If you choose Butler over Harden, you give up the assists. If you choose Butler over Harden, you give up some of those rebounds. Because Harden is a better rebounder than Butler. He's a better rebounder than Butler. Hands down, he's a better rebounder, he's a better dribbler, he's a better passer, and he's definitely a better shooter. Everything else I'll concede to you. But for those 4 things, if you could dribble, if you could shoot, if you could pass, that's basketball right there. That's basketball. Okay, he might be a ball stopper. Okay. And he does get a hockey assist. Okay. The NBA doesn't count hockey assists though, Brent. I can't agree with you on. I can't agree on the hockey assists. I can't agree on the hockey assists because if we were counting hockey assists in basketball, I don't think LeBron James will be anywhere near or excuse me, let me rephrase that. If we were counting hockey assists in basketball, I think probably some of the best players would have more assists. Like um Michael Jordan would have more assists. Uh who else? Who else would have more assists? Jason Kidd would have more assists because he's directing things. I think Allen Iverson would have more assists if you talk about the hockey assists. We can't count hockey assists in basketball because we know how dangerous that is. We know that is a very dangerous hockey assist. I think is a reason why it's a hockey assist because it's very and hockey is different. In basketball, I don't know. I'm a little. I'm agreeing with you, but I think a hockey assist is dangerous, and I think that's a topic for another time. I'm actually going to save that. I appreciate that right there, Brent. Actually, yeah, he did. Yeah, Durant did win Finals MVP. Listen, Durant, for all his powers, don't forget the Warriors were going up against LeBron James. Any small forward that plays really, really well against LeBron James in the finals is going to win the finals MVP. Every single time LeBron loses in the finals, a small forward wins the MVP. That's how you make LeBron lose in the finals. You need a small forward to win MVP. Case in point, Kawhi Leonard, Andre Iguodala. These are some of the best players, or excuse me, Iguodala is not one of the best players, but I say that to say Finals MVP doesn't matter if you are on a team who the previous year beat the record for the most wins without you. Look at Boston. Look at Boston. The year before they had Kyrie, they went further than they did with Kyrie. I mean, I can't lean on a Finals MVP when I know that Andre Iguodala won a Finals MVP against LeBron, and I know that Kevin Durant joined 3 Hall of Famers. Well, if you join 3 Hall of Famers, you play small forward, and you go against LeBron James in the finals, you're probably going to win Finals MVP. I mean, just judging by the criteria of everyone else who's won Finals MVP against LeBron. He played with 3 Hall of Famers. Butler's numbers are lower than Harden because Butler doesn't always try to hold the ball and pad stats like Harden. Okay. I can understand that. I can understand that claim. I can understand that. I guess what I don't understand is that the fact that Harden averages more assists and more points and more rebounds. I guess that's where I'm like, well, if you want to say defensively, Butler's a better player. If you want to say clutch time, Butler's a better player. If you want to say impact on team and younger players, Butler's a better player. I'll concede those 3 points to you. Overall, better player. I think that's a tougher argument for Butler. He's a willing passer. But the reason why I think the hockey assist is dangerous is because, one, let's say a player is double teamed, he kicks the ball out to a 3-point shooter, the defender closes on that 3-point shooter, and that 3-point shooter is able to sneak in a pass under the basket, and then the person under the basket finishes. So remember, the original person is double team. He kicks it to a 3-point shooter. The defender closes to the 3-point shooter, but the 3-point shooter recognizes that and kicks it underneath the basket. So for easy layup. I can't say the person who's double team, and I'm not saying you're saying they should have it, but I'm saying the person who's double team shouldn't get credit for that assist or even a hockey assist, because it was effectively the shooter's judgment that made that play. The double team started it, not the player getting double teamed. And that's why I think the hockey assist is dangerous, because of situations like that. And I'm not saying that's the only situation you can get a hockey assist, but that's why I think the hockey assist is dangerous, because there's so many other situations where you could say there's no way you can credit the pass before the assist. There's no way, because had you not gotten me the ball, I wouldn't have been able to make the assist. But had I not gotten the ball, that play would have never been available. So and that's what I'm saying. I know you're not saying count it, Brent, but even with the hockey assist, to say a hockey assist in basketball, to me, that's dangerous. And I think that opens up a can of worms that will not be able to be closed if you count it for Butler in this argument. And like I said, the reason why I say that is because that is a very, very dicey. That's a very dicey stat in basketball. That would be one stat if we were, let's just hypothetically speaking, say we were counting the hockey assists. The hockey assist would be one stat that I would be like, don't show me this. Don't show me this. Don't show me. I don't want to see this stat. Don't even put this stat on the stat sheet. That's my only thing with the hockey assist. I think it's very dangerous. I just think it's dangerous. But I do agree with this final point right here that Harden is a ball stopper, and he does pass stats. Look at these stats from the night. Listen, man, if you are in here, drop a like. If you are not following us or haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We drink a different whiskey every single time we are on stream. Next time you are on stream with us, please make sure to put in the comments what type of whiskey you either like or drink, and we prefer that you put the whiskey that you are drinking for that evening. Once again, Talk That Lingo Podcast. We do the show every Monday and every Thursday. We had to push this Thursday back a little bit because the most important game of the NBA season was tonight, the Brooklyn Nets versus the Philadelphia 76ers. It was a great, great game. Like I said, I had tickets to the game, but I decided not to go to the game in fear of my life because of all the Ben Simmons haters. What a phenomenal evening in basketball. It's definitely not a phenomenal evening for some of the Sixers fans. But I'm happy to hear and discuss what are your optimal points, or what do you have any optimism moving forward is the question that I want to ask. Let me know in the comments. Once again, I appreciate y'all tapping into the Talk That Lingo podcast, Talk That Lingo live stream. Like I said, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. That's where I give up a lot of the financial game. I'm not a financial analyst or a financial advisor or anything like that, but I am going to help you keep more of the money that you either earn or profit. It's harder to keep money than to get it. Like I always say, it is very, 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 very nice to have you guys here with me. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all subscribe. Be sure to subscribe. We out of here. Brett, my boy, I'm going to have to get you on. Let's go.